All right. First and foremost, just want to congratulate our team, our players. I thought they fought really hard. Really tough coming back from 4 weeks without a win. But I saw us keep getting better and better and better and better in practice. I mean, they've never gotten worse. Their attitude's never gone down. They've limited the external noise, kept the internal noise really loud. I'm really proud of their resolve because that's really hard to do. There's a lot of teams that can just spiral after that. And we've had our challenges, but I think everybody understands how important a healthy Mohamed Ibrahim is. Not afraid to say that. A way better coach when Mohamed's healthy. I think we all are. And he deserves a lot of credit for his record. First thing is he gives credit to everybody else, and he should. Can't do that without a stingy defense. Can't do that without offensive line, tight ends, wide receivers, coaches, administration, family, all of that. And he understands that. But congratulations to Mo. That's a huge record. I prefer we announce that a little later in the game rather than 8 minutes to go. I guess still getting really nervous at that point. Not done. But it was great to see DT up there too on the scoreboard. And what a class act. And nobody's rooting harder for Mohamed than DT. And I know those two will go down and go for history as the greatest, and they should because they deserve it. Because they're not only just great running backs, they're even better people, all the people who know DT and Mohamed. I mean, we couldn't ask for better people to set records like that, and we need to appreciate that. And last but not least, just want to just credit Rutgers. They're a really, really tough football team. I wouldn't be where I am up in front of this podium and having you listen to me and thinking I know what I'm talking about without Greg Schiano. It was really an emotional, midfield embrace. Not personally, but for all those guys in that locker room, Kirk, Joe, Rob Wanger, Norris, Matt Simon. If it wasn't for that program, I wouldn't have known those guys, and I wouldn't have been able to hire them and bring them along with me. I wouldn't have the courage to be a head coach. I wouldn't know what I know and know how to at least run a program the way we run it. He's a very influential man in my life, and a lot of guys in that locker room, whether they weren't there anymore and left because they didn't coach well enough or didn't have the results. I promise you this: they all have a ton of respect for him, and it's a hard business, but I know they feel have great feelings towards him and that program. So just want to his team played really hard, so just tons of respect to Greg and Rutgers and what they have done and how good of a football team they actually are, and you can just see the talent on that team going up. So with that, we'll open up for questions.
PJ, the two opening drives, you guys bled the clock, converted on third down, created a good push. What did you feel like were keys to those drives?
Third down. We were 7-9 on third down first half, and I think that was the conversions. I mean, we were throwing the ball, catching the ball. I think when you saw that in the second half, we didn't do that in the first three drives. There weren't a ton of drives, Andy. There were 4 drives. I mean, we've got to have some of the fewest drives in the country in terms of numbers of drives. If you take away our first 3 games and then kind of league play on, we had 4 drives in the first half, and then, we just, we punt. We drop a ball, it's a bad ball on a knock, on basically a slant. And I'm like, all right, well, last thing I want to do is be able to give them the ball down in that territory. Something happens. That's the only way I felt like the game could go opposite of that is if we were too aggressive right before the half. That's why with a minute and a half, if we fielded the punt and didn't let it roll 30 yards, we were going to go. That's why I called the timeouts I did. But I've also seen that go the other way. And again, when your defense is playing that good, you've got to make calls based on what you see in front of you. Okay? Whether that's popular or not, you're going to make the call because you got to get to the end of the game with a W, period. And that's when we were hitting the ball in the second half. And that's what I felt was the best decision.
What did you like about the way your defense responded today?
Listen, Penn State, I thought we played really well, except for 5 plays. I told you that, right? Where they schemed up some things, and they get credit for that. That's a good scheming coaching staff, and we didn't play well enough for those things to happen. But other than that, we played really well. And then, we couldn't get off the field in Illinois on third down and fourth down. Well, today we did, and that's the difference. I thought we tackled really well. We swarmed to the ball. We had interceptions. We had a fumble recovery. I thought we played fast. I thought we knew what was coming. I thought our staff did a great job because here's the thing. Before the game, we don't know who's going to play. We know that freshman tailback that has out. We don't know if 0 is going to play because he played last week. Well, we don't know if 3 is going to play because he's a really good passer. We don't know if 2 is going to play. We don't know who's going to come out at halftime. They just fired an offensive coordinator 2 weeks ago. Are they going to go back to that? That's very difficult to do. I thought Joe and his entire staff did a great job of managing and adapting during the game. And I'm the only one that gets to hear that. There's a lot going on that headset. It looks like it's pretty simple out there. Oh, yeah, another 3 and out in the punt. Okay. There was a lot going on that headset, and they deserve a lot of credit for that.
What was the process with Tanner this week, and how do you feel he played today?
I thought he played well. I mean, you're going to go by stats, right? I mean, that's kind of how you do that. I mean, I thought he played well. I mean, I'd love to have that knock throw back, the one to Daniel. But Daniel's got to open his hip, and Daniel will tell you he's got to catch that one. We had too many drops today. And, again, that goes on Tanner. It goes on Tanner's incompletions, right? Where's the category of drops on here? Is there a drop one on here? Ryan, maybe we need to add one of those, But it's not on there. It goes to the quarterback. And that's part of the quarterback's responsibility, right? And but I thought he had a heck of a week of practice. And, I talked to both players on Sunday. I talked to Tanner and Ethan. Ethan was tremendous. Ethan encourages Tanner. Ethan wants Tanner to do really well. Ethan's absorbing all he can because he's going to be a heck of a quarterback. I think you all know that. But Tanner's also earned the right, in my opinion, to be on that field leading our team too. And I told Ethan, I'll do the same for you. When you have that much built up, it's hard just to sit there and say, okay, well, you go out there and see what happens. Yeah, if he wasn't healthy, that's an easy decision. The doctors take care of all of that. I don't touch that. And he did some throwing against Penn State in warm-up, which started his clock. Then he did a non-contact on Tuesday, a contact, which we don't hit our quarterback anyway, technically on Wednesday. And then he's through the protocol as he keeps going forward. So Sip and the doctors did a great job with him. And again, I thought he did enough to win.
You mentioned your team blocking out external noise. I think earlier on in the season, we talked about that same thing, but with you guys winning, is it more difficult to block it out when you're winning, or is it more difficult to block it out when you're in a losing streak?
It's all equal. I think, by human nature, I think it's louder when it's negative. But we're trained to block it out, period. Right? You got to make a decision as you go through a stoplight, right? When it hits yellow, is it yellow or is it orange? Right? You got to make a decision, right? For us, we got to do the exact same thing. You got to block it all out. There's a decision to be made. If it's positive or negative, doesn't matter. We as human nature, we want to pull it all in when it's positive, but then boop, the next day, it could be negative. But that's why it doesn't matter. You guys have a job to do, and you're very good at doing it. Very good at doing it. And we respect that. But we show them every Sunday of teams that 1 week they're being talked about. Here's what they're saying about them. Here's what they're said about this. We'll do the same thing tomorrow, right? We'll do the same thing with our team. Here's what they were saying last week. I'm not sure if you'll say anything nice, but if you do, we'll put it on the board. That's some incentive for you.
Seems like
Andy didn't even smile. Andy just shook his head. Nope.
Seems like Cody Lindenberg got more opportunity today. What did you like from him?
I tell you what, that was a huge emphasis for us. Get him more involved. Started to see us take Braylon Oliver, put him a little bit more Sam linebacker. Our 3 best linebackers I want on the field more. And I think that Cody's earned that right. Cody can play Will, Mike, and Sam. More Will and Mike. But then when you sit there and look at Braylon, Braylon can play Will and Sam. Mariano can play all 3. It gives you the ability to do that. And Braylon didn't lose a spot, right? We just move him around to get him more involved too. So again, transparency is everything. Told Braylon what we're doing. Here's why we're doing it. Awesome, coach. Let's go. That's what I love about them. They just they embrace it and go.
I've seen Mo play so many times now. Is he doing anything in year 6 that maybe even better yet than he has in the past or different?
Well, I think that he's incredibly focused, and it might not be the answer you're looking for physically, but he's incredibly focused every single day. He's got this presence about him he takes everything in stride, and he's doing everything he can, listening to his body, listening to our trainers, pouring into his body. But I think when you watch him, his understanding of the offense is special. Guys, he's special. And he's earned the right to be special. He's worked at wanting to be special. He's poured into the unrequired to be special. He could come in and tell you everything about our offense tomorrow. He's been one of the best pass pro guys I've ever been around. I thought Doug Martin was really good out of Boise when we were in Tampa. I thought he was really good. Mo is really good at that. Mo he's going to be a running back coach. He sees it. He'll be an offensive coordinator. He'll be a head coach. he sees the game so well, and I think that's with time. He's been a really good running back, but I think he's more of a complete running back now, seeing the bigger picture.
One or two more for Coach?
What were your thoughts on Joyner today? With the opportunities he's been given the last few weeks, he's been really improving. What were your thoughts on him?
That's a great question. I felt the pass rush more than I have today. That offensive line, I think they averaged 325 across the board, but I felt them today. They condensed the pocket. Now, we got to get better at some things. We overran the quarterback too much, allowed some step-up holes, but they challenged him this week. It's a great question because that was one of our major challenges personally to our team was our defensive line and their pass rush. And, I'm glad they responded. Brick Haley, our defensive line coach, did a good job getting them going.
I saw Tyler flying around. How do you describe how fast he's able to play right now?
He's getting better and better and better, Andy. He is. I mean, he's got another year left. He's just getting better. He anticipates so well. He's incredibly confident. I mean, I tell the NFL scouts, too, I said, he's a guy that's going to walk into a room and just bring an attitude and bring this personality to the room. And he's got handshakes with everybody. He knows everybody. He's alive every single day. He went through some tough times this week, and I'm really proud of him. He found out some real hard news with his family, two things that were very personal to him. And, in my office on Wednesday, and that was a hard meeting. And to watch him play like that today, you knew he was playing for something else too. And I'll have him share that with you if he wants to, but I'll keep that personal between him and I. But he's the leader of he's the leader of the back end. And he's got that personality and he's got that drive. And, Antoine Winfield had it, right? And that's why he's already won a Super Bowl. Tyler's the closest thing that we've had to that. Closest thing. And he keeps developing as he keeps going forward. And the kid could play wide out. He could play safety. He could play corner. He could play nickel. He could probably come off the edge if you wanted him to. He's just so competitive, and he loves the game. Nobody loves football more. And nobody loves following, and I can't say this. I'm sure there are, but I'm saying just about his parents. Nobody supports their sons like the Nubins do. Sharice and Rodney. They support both their boys who both go here. They were here. They're in the hotel. They're everywhere. And they're awesome parents. And you can see why he has that drive and why he's such a great kid because he's got great parents, and they love him, support him, and have no problem, getting him on the right track if he gets off that. And they love him unconditionally. It's fun to watch. So, one more?
Okay.
We're good?
Everyone all set?
What did you think of the offensive line and how they responded today?
I thought they responded. I got to watch the film I'll talk to you more on Monday because I got to watch the film. I think we had a little too much pressure in a drop-back game, but I did feel like we were denting them. And, those 3 to 4 yard runs, come the end of the game, you saw what happened. They come spitting out. But those 3 to 4 yard runs are hard, especially in the first half. Rutgers top 10 defense. And that front seven's really good. And they're bringing that safety. Now, there's 8 guys in the box pretty much every time. And we've got to continue to get more consistent to get them out of the box on the outside. And that's what we need to do, take that pressure off those guys, too, because you can only block so many. And we got to help with that. But we also got to prove we can do it. So, have a wonderful Halloween, everybody. Brother Boat, Sky Ma, go Gophers.